So every element has a transformation matrix, and we typically use these when we want to scale or rotate. Important aspects of the transformation are that it has an owner, it has a matrix, and then it has a composition of the transformations, and we'll look at these three each. So here we have just a regular setup where we have a space, a red element. We're adding that red element to the space, and then I want to look at the red element, so it's the final thing in our playground. So to create a transform, this is the pattern that we use when we want to make a transform. Red element, and then when we call this message, this gives us a transformation builder, and then we can call these messages on that transformation builder, and then when we do apply, it applies that transformation back to our element. So we can run this and then look at our red element. So here's our transformation, and it has an owner, a matrix, and transformation. So the way this works is that our transformation is the composition, and this is it goes in order of the things that we told it. We said first we wanted to rotate it by 20, and then translate it by 100 and 100, and then that the matrix that this creates when we rotate and translate by these amounts gives us this matrix, which is this matrix right here. So I'm not going to go into how matrices are computed or what these values mean. There are plenty of videos online that go into that. So the important thing to keep in mind is that the composition is how the matrix is made. And then the owner always points back to our element. So this is going to be pointing at our red rectangle. So as I said, let's inspect this. That gives us a transformation builder. So let's go look at transformation builder, but let's first look at our BL element. So this transform method gives us back a BL transformation builder on self. And so let's look at this now. Let's look at BL transformation builder. And let's go over and look at the class side and go look at on. So when we call this, we call it on self, and then over here on an object. So we create a new BL transformation builder, and then we set the target to an object. So the transformation builder that we have right here, it is going to be, the target of it is going to be the red element. So there are three aspects of our transformation builder that we need to keep in mind. The target is the element that we'll apply this to, so we already know that in our case it's going to be the red element. The origin is the transformation's origin, and we'll go over this later. And then there's the transformation, and it's the composite transformation matrix that we will apply to the target. So let's go back and look at the instance side and look at the initialize. So here's where our transformation and our origin is set up. And by default, we need to look at this. This will come up later, that it's a BL affine transformation center origin. And then this is just a composite. We won't look at this in depth. So let's look at the BL affine transformation center origin. So we can see that it has origin in, and this is the only method that it has. Doesn't have anything on the class side. And look at the comment. It's a relative transformation origin. So what this says basically is that our origin by default is going to be in the center of our element. And that's important. I want to just say that again, that our origin by default is going to be the center of our element. So let's look and see how this plays out. So I'm going to just look at the rotate right now. I'm going to apply that. And you see it's rotated by 20 degrees. If I go change it to 30, if I change it to 40, you can see that it's rotating as we would expect, that it's rotating around the center of the element. So order matters. That if we rotate it by 40 and now we translate it, it's going to remain, the rotation is going to remain the same, but we're just going to translate it down 100 by 100. And we see that it happened there. But if we do it in the other order, it will be different. Okay, so what happened there? Well, what happened was first it's translated. I'm just going to run this. So first it's translated down 100 by 100, 100 over in the x, 100 down in the y, and then it's rotated 40 degrees. And it's no longer rotating in the center because the center of our matrix is still up here. It's still up here where the center would be. So we see that it has rotated, but it's rotated around a point right here. So I'll break this up into several videos, but I want to just go back over the transformation has an owner, a matrix, and then the composition. And the composition are the series of procedures that go into making up the matrix. In the transformation builder, it has a target, and that's the element we'll apply it to. And this should be really self-evident from the code of where the target is. The origin is the transformation origin, and then by default it's where the center of the element initially is. And then the transformation is the composite transformation matrix that we will apply to the target. And lastly, order is really important.